Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Krystyn. Welcome back.
I know, it's been a little bit of a minute.
It has. The longest we have gone thus far in our podcast journey on taking a break.
Thank goodness we recorded a lot of shit.
Yeah. Honest to goodness. I mean, and it helped us in so many ways because you don't know what you don't know until you know it. And summer came in like a goddamn TGV. Do you know what that is?
It was hot and heavy.
That's the TGV, which is the speed train in France. So it came in like a high speed train. I don't even know. Basically summer's over.
I was going to say like the horny, I don't know.
The horny what?
Like a horny guy. Like he came summer rammed in.
Oh, okay. But this is also what happens when we don't see each other because then we're just on these hilarious rants. It is coming up next week.
I know. This is going to come out
at the end
20th.
of August.
I believe this is going to come out on the 20th of August.
Yeah, right around when school goes back for us. Do you know down in Tennessee, my cousins went back to school this week?
Already?
Monday? Yeah.
I'll see. And there's an influencer I follow in Minnesota, and they don't go back till after Labor Day.
Which I feel like that's when we used to go back to school when I was a kid, was after Labor Day.
Yeah, always.
I don't even understand. And I talked to some teachers about it because I was like, it's so annoying that we go back in the middle of the week. And they're like, actually, we love it because it allows them to like get in that Monday and get acclimated. And, and I was like, oh, okay.
They actually get a little bit more time, summertime that way.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Welcome to Two Mystic Mama.
We are back, and we are talking about back to school magic today, guys, for tips and rituals on easing the transition from summer back to school. And this is both for your kiddos and for you.
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit about what that looks like, feels like.
And if you don't have kids, this is always a great time of year to kind of reset your schedule as you're moving out of all the beautiful sunshine in the fall. I'm fine.
We're moving into the best season.
I know. I'm very excited.
The year.
No, I am very excited for it.
Even people that don't have children can relate to this episode on many levels.
Right. I feel like we can all use a new morning routine or a morning ritual.
All the things. Yeah, so when I was taking notes, I broke it into like some categories that we tend to focus on because you got to start the routine a couple weeks before the routine. Got to give yourself some wiggle room to have some really good days, and then you're like, oh. So when I was preparing for this episode, I was just starting to think about, in the summer, I allow the kids to sleep in to whenever they want to get up. And I know this is probably going to ruffle some feathers, but studies are starting to come out and show that sleep is so critical in teenagers and in folks that are going through different stages of their life that I am a big believer in sleep until your body says you need to get up. Now, that also means don't stay up super late at night either, right? Like have a good sleep schedule. But my kids tend to go to bed during the summer around 10. And then I just let them sleep until whenever their body tells them to get up. So naturally with school approaching, that is different. And our oldest children are going to middle school this year. And they have to be up at a different time as opposed to the other children. So I'm like, ugh. The thing that I struggle with too is I've never been a morning person. And so I am actually going to be jumping on board with this as well, because I have allowed myself to also sleep until my body gets up. And my body typically wakes up around between 7 and 8 in the morning. So I will naturally have to be getting up around 6. And so I've started to think about what that looks like. And then, my morning routine looks so different than it did at the beginning of last school year because I'm just in a different place. I'm on a different journey than I was last year. And so I want to give myself a little bit of space in the morning before I have to get the kids up. And my goal is to do it, 3 times a week. I can't fully commit to doing it every single day because when you are raising 3 children that have 3 different ages and then there's sports involved, pivot and being flexible is just part of the vocabulary. Like you can try. I think I wrote down somewhere on this where it's like always strive for the best and settle for reality, right? So like have goals in mind and strive to reach those goals, but at the same time, give yourself grace and don't put so much pressure.
Right. We were in a really good routine with getting up and working out. And when the girls took over the podcast, did you get to listen to that? So when the girls took over the podcast, one of the questions that they asked each other was what was one of their like favorite things that they do, or what do they do? What was it? Oh yeah. It was like, what is one of your favorite things you do as a family? And Evie's answer was getting up in the morning and working out together. And we would like get in the ice pod and do all the things. And then we got out of the routine of that within the summer. So I endeavor to get back to that because she just really enjoyed getting up. She was doing her PT exercises at the time.
Right.
And, ice plunging. But it's like the morning ritual, and I think we've talked about this on a prior one, our evenings are so chaotic that the morning is when we actually get to spend time together as a family.
Right.
So I feel like my morning routine kind of just evolves throughout the year, depending on what's happening as schedules change.
Right.
This morning, I did a reading. The question that I had asked of my spirit guides was really, it was financial based. And it was because, I have my business, we have the podcast, I teach music privately, so on and so forth, affiliate marketing, like all of these like different things that are just kind of swirling around. And I was just really looking for like some clarity as I move into this like next season. And when I decided to use a different deck than I usually do. And I pulled the Leo card. And when I was kind of like thinking about that, I decided to look at where Leo fell in my natal chart, which for me was in my 2nd house and in my north node. And it was really talking about, I find the most fulfillment when what I'm doing is aligned with my purpose, my passion, and when I feel really, really good about that. And so it really had a lot to do with what my core values are.
Okay.
And so then I was thinking about like some Brene Brown books, and I was like, maybe I need to reevaluate what my core values are moving forward. And I decided to start with writing very simply what my ideal morning routine would look like. And so I wrote all of that out this morning. And then I was kind of comparing, okay, well, like what core values am I bringing out when I'm talking about all of these things? This is ideally how my morning would look like.
Right.
And it was just like a new way for me to kind of connect the dots to make everything work together in synergy.
I think that's, I think that's fantastic, because I think I wrote down too that, this is for you listeners, this year, this coming school year doesn't have to be the same as the years prior. And for us, it's not going to be. And I think to your point, I am very aware of how I want my mornings to feel, because I am such an empath. And so for me, it's how can I create a space where my children can nourish their brains before they get off to school. They're not feeling rushed. How can I just help them to start their day in a really beautiful way? And out of the 3, the one I'm most concerned about is Emmeline, because she's moving into middle school. She's preteen. There's hormones that are already starting to fly around. And if I can help to create a space that is refreshing and calm and happy when she gets up, I feel like that will start her day off on a good foot. right? Now, again, going back to, is every day going to be perfect? Nope, it sure isn't. But good sleep, a good breakfast. And again, Emmeline's in that phase where she's, I'm not hungry, or she'll be like, I want French toast. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So trying to come up with creative ways to give her good food that's nourishing for her brain. So we do a lot of shakes, which I made one right before you came today. Okay. And it's from a cookbook that we will reference. It's called The Smoothie Project, and it's by Catherine McCord. And we love it so much. They have the best smoothie recipes that I've ever had. And they're super easy to follow, but they have dates and chia seeds and flax, and it has all of the components that will keep them full and, get them off on the right foot, which is another, one of the sections that I wrote down was just, how do we prepare their food in the morning, but also lunches, because this is just, everything's going to be so new for her, and changing classrooms and having a locker. And there's a lot more intimidation that I think she's, going to feel. And so just anticipating that and how I can be supportive is going to be important.
Stevie, I think though, back to your point, like you can't control whether or not every day is going to go perfectly, or if everything's going to go off on the right foot, or if she's going to wake up happy, or if she's going to wake up hormones raging, or if you're going to wake up happy, or if you're going to wake up hormones raging. You can't control that. But one thing that you can control is your routine. Mm-hmm. And I struggled for years with the idea of routine because I thought it was boring. And I'm not a boring person.
No.
So I struggled with that.
Sure.
Until I realized that so much of what I do is steeped in ritual.
Which is a routine.
Sure. Right. Yeah. And so the very first thing I did was change the vocabulary to ritual.
Yes.
And I was like, this is my morning ritual.
I think that's beautiful.
And then all of a sudden, the self-discipline came from that just because it was a word that wasn't triggering to me. Now routine doesn't bother me. I see it as a good thing.
Yeah. And I think too, it's so funny how feelings are associated with words too, because that feeling of boring is so associated with the word routine. Mm-hmm. Where ritual, it's like, ooh, that sounds like magic is involved. And right. Tell me more.
The other word that's like that is discipline. Like the idea of self-discipline versus disciplining your children.
Yes.
Or there being disciplinary action.
Yes.
Another tough one for our kids to wrap around, because I've had this conversation a couple times with Evie.
Nobody can argue. Not one parent can argue that when routines are flowing, rituals are flowing, life is better. And when you have all of these different activities and humans and priorities that you're trying to keep aligned, organization and having those rituals mapped out, even if they're mentally mapped out, right? It makes a huge difference when you have a thought out plan, a plan of attack. How am I going to approach this day and just make it my own? Which makes me think of those Instagram accounts where it's like, rise and shine, you bright motherfucker.
Oh, it pops up in my sponsored stuff all the time.
I love them so much.
I know. I think that's why. I think you sent me one, and now they just pop up all the time.
It's because Jeff found them and sends them to me.
Yeah, there's another one that's like that, although it's not those. It's Yogi Brian, and he's he talks about releasing all your fucks. He's so great. He was actually in Pittsburgh last year.
Oh, really?
And he did a yoga class. I couldn't get into it. I think it sold out, and we had something else going on.
That's cool. No, but I love those guys, right? Because naturally, the word fuck is just part of me living authentically. Sorry, not sorry. I know it offends some people, but I just love it so much.
My somatic coach and I were talking about that this week, actually. That. Just the same thing, just being authentic in your verbiage, right? It makes such a difference sometimes.
Yeah. So the other thing I want to touch on is naturally when your kids go back to school is our immune systems. Kids bring home all the things. and your immune system will be rocked. So if you're just taking some steps to prepare, it might help. So if you do get something, it won't knock you down, because that's such a shitty feeling right after the kids go back to school is what they start coming home with.
Well, I mean, one thing goes back to two things you've already actually touched on, which are going to be sleep and the foods that you're eating, right? Nourishing foods, getting plenty of sleep are going to be two ways to bolster your immune system right off the bat.
Yep.
And then I have a feeling you have an arsenal of oils that you will be using as well.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and the other thing too is I'm a big believer in essential oils. I think that they're more than just smell good. There's a couple different blends out there on the market. If you're a Young Living fan, there's a blend called Thieves. If you're a doTERRA fan, it's called I can't remember what the doTERRA blend is, but
it's called Fuck No.
Fuck No, it's not that. That they would not name it that, but it's basically like a blend of different oils that just really support your immune system, and they don't smell too bad. So you can put it on topically or you can diffuse it. I tend to also send the kids to school with oils. Different oils are really good for focus. I actually wrote down a bunch of different oils that you can use in the morning. Peppermint's amazing for just helping with alertness. It does have a correlation to your circulation, and so it oxygenates the blood. Peppermint's also incredible if you go to work out. Like, you can put it on your chest to inhale and it will help to expand the lungs.
Also super great for headaches. Peppermint.
Yeah. Peppermint is like, if you're going to have like an arsenal of oils, peppermint has to be like one of the top 5, because there's so many uses for it too. Eucalyptus is amazing for energy, and just in general, it has a lot to do with opening your airways. If you think about, everyone always smells eucalyptus. There's a bunch of different types of eucalyptus out there. And then the citrus oils. So citrus oils are always connected to making you feel happy. And that's because they have a component in them called limonene, which lowers stress and anxiety. So it naturally makes you feel better. So it raises your vibration. So it's a really good one to have if you diffuse in the mornings. You can just start that before anybody wakes up. And so then they walk out and it's like orange and lemon and lemongrass and tangerine and
bergamot.
Yeah. Well, bergamot is another one that is just a staple in general. Mm-hmm. Bergamot has a lot to do with your emotional side of things.
It's used a lot in witchcraft too for raising your vibration. Isn't not attached to the citrus family though?
I don't know the answer to that. And the other one that I thought was interesting, and I never use it in this regard, but is tea tree. Like, tea tree is one of those oils that has a lot of healing properties for your skin, for burns, for insect bites, for if you have acne, but it also is able to banish negative energy and boost positive thoughts.
I love that.
So I was like, oh.
I want to interject.
Yeah.
The bergamot comes from the tree, the Seville orange tree.
Okay, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
So it is part of the citrus family. So yeah, those are some oils that you can just throw around, get comfortable with them. You can put them on your body. You can diffuse them. Again, I always stress this. Make sure you get ethically sourced essential oils. Do not buy them willy-nilly, because most of them in the United States specifically are not regulated. Therefore, there's a bunch of filler in them and they will not be beneficial. So It's like anything else. Just buy really good quality product and you will feel the benefits. If you buy shit, cheap crap, you will not feel the benefits and potentially will have negative side effects.
You will feel like shit, cheap crap.
Yeah, exactly. If you buy shit, cheap crap, you will feel like shit, cheap crap. There you go.
Can you say that 3 times fast?
Shit, tree crap. Shit, tree crap. Shiver, shiver.
Okay, so since we are talking about oils, one thing I wanted to ask you, I was kind of thinking about what are some things that I would recommend, right? Evie, if you have any little budding witches out there or anybody that's into crystal magic or anything like that, I've made a little list of things that would be beneficial for going back to school, back to work, in any situation, really. And one of those things that I thought about was actually carrying a small cleansing spray with you to cleanse the area. Like, we're already using spray hand sanitizers, and God knows kids are taking Sol de Janeiro and Axe body spray and whatever to school now.
I just ordered the 59.
You did not. Is it a surprise?
It is not. Oh. No. It's.
Have you smelled the 59?
No. Have you?
I have not, but Emmeline told Evie not to buy one specific number.
I think it was 48.
Because it smelled like sweet crap. She said it smelled like sweet crap. So Evie was like, Emmeline, how do you know what sweet crap smells like? But if we were going to suggest that our listeners make a cleansing spray with like, you can dilute oils in water.
Yeah, you can do witch hazel, or you can also do vodka.
Do not send your kids to school with a spray bottle of vodka.
Okay, first of all, you got to mix it with all of the oils.
Don't listen to Rachel. Do not send your kids to school with vodka.
It's fine, because it won't smell like vodka, because it'll have all the essential oils. But vodka is...
Until they bring in a vodka sniffing dog, and then all of a sudden Emmeline's getting arrested.
You're making shit up. I love that idea, I think. Or a roller ball. Because I feel like, too, if you do a cleansing spray, like your locker, totally fine. But like, I would not walk into a classroom and be like...
No, but if you wanted to cleanse like your locker or go into the bathroom and like have a moment in the stall where you like mist, your face or something like that.
It can also be used as a poopery.
Do not send your kids to school with vodka. I don't care how many essential oils you put in it. Do not listen to Rachel. She is.
Also, don't tell your kids that you're using vodka, Krystyn.
Yeah, just send them to school with vodka and don't tell them. Even better, Rachel.
Just pick up some Vladimir vodka.
God, you're not even going to send them with anything good?
Nope.
Oh, rude.
Grey Goose. I'm not mixing Grey Goose with essential oils. Hello.
Guaranteed there's some teacher that's going to be like, this girl's got Tito's on her. I can smell it a mile away.
Yeah. You can make your own ethical decision whether or not to send your kid to school with vodka-laced room spray. Cleansing spray, not room spray. There might be teachers out there that are like, that's a great idea. I've had some teachers that do diffuse. What else do you put in their book bags?
I think there are a couple of things that you can do. One, a crystal, right? Sending your kids with a little pouch with a crystal to help. Nothing big. Don't send any big rocks.
Yep.
Just get
clear
a small,
quartz is fantastic.
Tumbled stone.
Yep.
If your kids struggle with confidence at all, I would recommend a yellow citrine or sunstone. Both really good for confidence. Same with tiger's eye. Clear quartz. All the good things. If you have kids that are trying to maybe replace some bad habits, amethyst is a good one to send them with. Black tourmaline, really good for protection. The other thing is, and I don't know if you're into like sacred geometry or sigils or signs at all, but there's a lot of signs or runes, anything like this, that you could actually draw into the front of their notebook or your own notebook or journal or planner to help set the intention of whatever it is that you're, trying to move forward with.
Yeah, I think
life.
That's great. I think, depending on how old your child is, I think going back to having a little bit of a morning routine where maybe you get together as a family and you kind of map out what you would like to accomplish that day, or what your intentions are for that day too. And going back to, it can be ritual in the sense that you can have the same intentions every single day.
There is a very special little niche of magic called enchantments or glamours. And you can literally enchant anything with your intention. You can enchant a pencil. You can, just like you put your intentions into a crystal, you can do the same thing with something else. If you have girls, one recommendation that I would make for you is doing an enchantment on your nail polish. Because there's two things that can happen here. One is that you can just do like a clear nail polish, enchant it with protection, right? Make it a part of your whatever ritual that you're doing to bring protection to your family. Have a mantra around it. And then just literally painting protection on their nails. And that's a great way of just like kind of baby magic, right? Introducing them to like different ways that they can protect themselves. The other thing that you can do is if you have a child or a student that maybe struggles to get their thoughts from their head out to paper, so to speak, you can enchant the nail polish with those intentions as well, right? And then it's like literally flowing from your hands.
I love that.
Yeah, so something a little bit different. And you can play with color magic that way too, if they're in just like, you know, again, if you're looking for more confidence, then, you know, anything in that like yellow, orange color base is going to be helpful. Pink for anything if they need a little self-esteem boost, a little bit of self-love.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So just some other ways to kind of think about, you know, starting the school year with some new rituals.
Yep. The other thing that we tend to do is during the summer, we didn't have a ton of electronics, but during the school week, we don't have anything on when they get home from school at all. Maybe some music, because music can be really gifting in a lot of ways. But other than that, we hold that space for the weekend, and it allows us to not get caught up in distraction or screen time. And it also just takes something off the plate that we don't even have to like bring up as a discussion point, because sometimes it can be a point of contention, and just having things flow and just move into the nighttime routine is keeping things very quiet and calm. And for me, that was a game changer. When we started that last year, when school went back into session, it wasn't even something that I just took it completely off the table. And it wasn't something that was a point of contention or an argument, because the other thing that starts before school starts is sports. And so this year we're bringing into existence another sport for Graham. So Emmy's doing club soccer and travel soccer with a new club, which will bring its own set of new people, new community, new routine. And then Graham is also doing football. And so he will have soccer and football. And so we'll be navigating 4 different practices every single week in the evenings on top of homework. Graham's moving into 3rd grade. So that I remember very vividly with Emmeline was a formidable year when I feel like the academics stepped up. So it'll be interesting to see how Graham steps up, and then Emmeline moving into middle school and all of the different classes. That's going to be a transition. So again, I am preparing more than I have in previous years to be very intentional with the routine that we're mapping out. And then of course we still have Isla, and she is moving into pre-K 2. I can't remember if pre-K 2 comes before pre-K, but she's stepping up into a new classroom as well. And I'm not so much worried about her, right? Because she's 4 and I'm just like, you got time, girl.
Will she go to kindergarten next fall then?
She will. Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yep. She will. She will be ready. Socially, I feel like she's advanced. Scholastically, I feel like she's advanced. So I will not hesitate to get her into school.
I think what you're talking about is so important though, because everybody has different things that work for their family, right? So our mornings are more of our time where we have meditation music playing, and it's kind of a little bit more quiet. And then in the afternoon, when Evie comes home, that's historically a time where she comes home and she has, you know, like let's say last year, she had like an hour to get stuff done. So we already have music turned on for her when she gets home, and it immediately like triggers her to go into like, okay, I need to get a snack and make sure I'm fueled up for practice, and I need to make sure that I get my homework done.
Yep.
And so she just listens to music while she does that. But again, when we do it for her, then you're never worrying about a screen coming into play.
Yep.
Right? It's never like she's like, oh, I got to go turn on music, and then she's going to get sucked into an iPod or something.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. And, you know, we still don't have phones for the kids, and I'm going to hold off as humanly possible for as long as humanly possible. So that's not even, and studies are really showing that, especially this the next 3 years. So Emily is 11. So until she's about 16, it has to be extremely limited. Otherwise, it has some serious negative consequences, if you will.
Well, and everybody's so different in this. I feel like there is a percentage of people who gave their kids phones young, and they learned very young how to use them and not abuse them because they were not a thing of novelty. It wasn't something that they couldn't have. And I have seen this with a couple of students, which I find really fascinating.
Is it the phone or the apps?
They have all of it.
Yeah.
They have access to all of it. The kids that were given it younger and it wasn't like taken away necessarily seemed to figure out a way to manage it better earlier. I feel like our girls, like you're saying, like they need the time to develop their brains. And I was one, I didn't let Evie watch any TV at all until she was over 2. I was like, nope, she can play, she can have musical instruments, she can because there was so much research on how it affects their brains. So that was like a big thing for me. So I do care a lot about how the screens affect them. And so I'm not necessarily an advocate for them having them young, but I do find it interesting.
Yeah.
That I've seen that happen.
For sure. And I think even when we look at our children, Graham can't handle it.
Right.
He would be on the phone all day, every day.
Well, and I don't want to weaponize communication.
No.
I'm not interested in doing that. So it's not the phone per se.
Right.
That's the issue. It's all the other apps on the phone.
Yeah. It's just technology in general. It's screen time. It's what just kind of quiets the creativity and the imagination because they just get fed everything and then they absorb it. And how they absorb it that's the unique part because every child is intrinsically just structured differently.
Yeah. Well, Evie, when she realized that, and this is like her new statistic she likes to spout out, that it only takes 5 minutes of boredom to spark creativity.
There you go.
And so she's like, okay, I can do that. And so her thing that she's been really into this year has been watercoloring.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Mm-hmm. I feel like Evie is so good too because she is an only child that she has this innate gift of coming up with her own magic and figuring that out. Graham being the middle, he's the one that don't telling me how bored he is.
Right.
My girls don't
totally
do it.
Different dynamics.
It is, but my girls don't do that. And I'm constantly telling him it's okay to be bored.
Right.
Which annoys him. But I'm like, no, it's cool. Mm-hmm. You can be bored. You can figure that out. Don't whine. Just figure it out.
Yeah.
I am not here to have something in front of you to do at every moment of every day.
I feel like
it's a teaching thing.
It is. Well, and I feel like for Evie, because she is an only child, she goes from being able to very easily, be creative and immerse herself in something different to then needing a large amount of our attention. Mm-hmm. So I feel like she's usually in one camp or the other, not so much down the middle of the road because she is an only child.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. It's like the pendulum. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I tend to, I will probably go to Sam's in the next couple weeks and I will do some stock buying, if you will, because it's important to just be prepared for the unexpected because naturally with sports, if there's inclement weather, there's just so many things that can come up and pop up that, again, maintaining that peace, trying to create an energy where everyone's aligned. My kids pick up on my energy, so I'm responsible for how I am coming across to them. And, I want to do as much as I can to make sure that the transition into the school year is as smooth as possible because there will be some bumps. So just having things prepared, easy things prepared that make it so we have snacks in the car because when people are hangry, we all know how we get. And that Snickers commercial is so fucking spot on.
The hanger is real in our family too, man.
Yeah. and so just having some snacks in the car that you can be like, hey, I have some chips and some pretzels in the back. I have some water or whatever. Just go get some, just being mindful of the situations that arise and how those are going to be, solved. Because we also have, my uncle used to tell me this when I had Emmeline, they called it SRTs, sugar related tantrums. So like if their blood sugar's too low, if they haven't eaten anything in the morning and they're acting like an asshole, it's because their sugar is too low, most likely. So if you give them something to eat, you will see a completely different human. I see it all the time with Isla.
Right. And the same with if you're not feeding your kid sugar and dyes all the time, you're going to notice a difference in their behavior too.
Yep.
If you can get them on more natural foods.
Yep. And feel free to reach out to us because both Krystyn and I, we love to cook. We love to come up with recipes. For me, it definitely is a meditation exercise from when I just cook willy-nilly, where I look in my fridge, I pull out some protein, I pull out some veggies, and I just start going to town to make and create whatever the dish ends up being. But we are so willing to help you guys. It's actually one of the services that I offer on my website where I can help you get comfortable in the kitchen. So if you are struggling, if you feel it's just so intimidating, I basically am your friend in the kitchen that just helps you and walks you through it and can, give you all the consultation you need, but in a way that makes it feel like you're just talking to your best friend while making a meal. So definitely spend some time thinking about that and how that has a correlation to your routine, whether it's mornings and you're having shakes or you're having yogurt or you're having oatmeal, whatever that looks like, or cereal. We have cereal in this house too. I don't tend to make it like an everyday thing. Like they can have it once in a while if we're in a bind. Lunches. So we go back and forth between school lunches and packing our lunch. I'm a big proponent of packing just because school lunches in general tend to be crap and they don't get what they need. But I also understand the appeal of buying a lunch. It's so cool when you can buy a lunch.
I feel like that appeal changes with each year though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Some years it's cool and some years it's not.
Yeah, I don't know what middle school is going to hold. But like packing a lunch, we typically try to do that the night before if we have enough energy. And I tend to try to help the kids, but I also empower them to pack their own lunch and give them responsibility. So it's not just on me. My kids tend to move somewhat slow in the morning. So I'm always like, you got some shit to do. Let's go. But yeah,
that's a little thing that Charlie and Evie have together is that he really enjoys making her lunch for her.
Oh, that's sweet.
It's very sweet. And so in the mornings, that's like something that they banter back and forth about, like what he's going to put in her lunch. And it's sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. So all of this to say, good luck as you move into another school year for your kids, for yourself. And again, if you don't have kids, these are still tricks and suggestions that will help you with your work day, with your routine, with your rituals. These are still things that you can incorporate that will have that flow, that energetic flow moving. And, naturally you want it to be like in a circular motion, right? You don't want a bunch of breaks in that. And, you just build upon it. And every day is a new day. So if you have, fucked up bad day, okay.
Well, friends, we hope that this has helped you as we're moving back to school and looking towards our beautiful autumn months.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to get into it. And please help support this podcast by sharing it with 3 of your favorite people that you think would also appreciate the information that we are sharing. It does make a huge difference by just doing that little exercise of liking, saving, and sharing our podcast. It helps all of the algorithms and it helps all of the data. So we appreciate that little bit of exercise that you guys do every week to just help move the podcast along in a forward momentum.
It is a completely free way for you guys to help support us energetically and we appreciate it.
We appreciate you guys so much.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.